I am on a small car park at Bloworth Common, which is just the other side of Torver from Coniston. I've come through Coniston and Torver. I'm going up towards Beacon Fell and Beacon Tarn, just up over Bloworth Common. I'm just going to pop along the road here for about 50 yards and then turn right and up over the fell. It's a wonderful little fell. It's quite secluded. I'm not actually expecting to meet many people. I think we're going to have a good day today, although it's bitterly cold and there's a biting wind. But I think we'll enjoy it today.
This is an easy enough walk. From the car park we follow a path through the bracken. Then turn right, then left to go under the electricity pylons, then head on to a junction with a track from Blair, where we turn right and follow the line of a narrow stream up the fell to Beacon Tarn. We then follow the path beside the tarn to go on to the highest point of the fell. It's 831 feet or 255 and a bit metres for some very extensive views. There's not only views, there's also a lot of hidden history here, as well as wildlife. We're following in the footsteps of adventurers, pirates, and a dinghy called Mavis. The pirates come a bit later, by the way.
You know, this footpath won't win any prizes for being the clearest, the best signed and the easiest to follow. Basically, it's just a track through the bracken. It's quite wet as well, as you can see in places. The good news is, when you get to the top, up by the power lines, it becomes wider, it's easier to follow, and by the time you get up to Beacon Tarn, it's quite nice and wide and easy to use. So you'll be fine. You just need to break your way through the lower part of the bracken first.
Says he with confidence.
I don't know whether you remember in 2007 the television programme called Britain's Favourite View. Well, that view there is one of the ones that was nominated for it. It didn't win. That was Wastwater. But it isn't a bad view, is it, considering just up from the road. Very easy to get to. Stunning.
That's Coniston Water in all its autumn glory.
I don't know whether you can see a small cluster of white houses over there on the other side of the valley. That's the village of Nibthwaite. Back in the 1920s, the angling correspondent of the Manchester Guardian came to Nibthwaite on a holiday. He'd been before. He used to come as a child, so he knew the area very well. Whilst he was there in the 1920s, he met the noted historian W.G. Collingwood, and was introduced to Collingwood's grandchildren. And indeed, he showed Collingwood's grandchildren how to sail. He taught them how to sail on Coniston Water. They had two small dinghies, one of which was named Mavis, a wonderful name for a dinghy, and the other was called Swallow. A few years later, the same Manchester Guardian angling correspondent wrote a book about his adventures on the lake. And the book was called Swallow and Mavis, after the two boats. But he didn't particularly like the Mavis part. He didn't think it quite worked. So he changed the name to Swallows and Amazons. And the name of the angling correspondent of the Manchester Guardian was, of course, Arthur Ransom. And he went on to write a number of books in the same series, the Swallows and Amazons series. If you think in terms of Hawkshead as being Beatrix Potter country and Grasmere as being Wordsworth country, then this area around Coniston and over towards Windermere is very much Arthur Ransom territory.
Ransom is a fascinating character. His is a tale of revolution, adventure and secret dealing. In 1914 he became a war correspondent, and in 1917 he headed to Russia to chronicle the revolution. He knew both Lenin and Trotsky, and actually ended up marrying Trotsky's personal secretary. He even passed information on to MI5, who gave him the code name S-76. He crossed battle lines in secret and was even accused of diamond smuggling. When he returned to England, he settled down and became an angling correspondent. Considering his adventurous life, it's little wonder that he took to creating one of the best-loved children's adventure stories with ease.
This stream that accompanies the path is actually the outflow to the Tarn. There's two places we can cross. There's one a bit further up. Neither have a bridge. They're both quite narrow. This one's got a few stepping stones. This is the one I'm going across.
Aren't waterproof boots wonderful? This is Beacon Tarn, just over a quarter of a mile long and about 150 yards at its widest point. On days like this it resembles the Irish Sea, but in summer it's a popular spot for wild swimmers. I suppose I could dive in today. Actually, on second thoughts, I've just remembered I haven't brought a towel with me. This ford across a stream has turned into something of a bog. There's no one around, so it's not a good day to get stuck. There we go. All those who wanted me to fall in should hang their heads in shame. This small hill beside the Tarn on which I'm walking is called Bleak Knot. On a cold and windy day like this, it's a very apt name.
Well, Beacon Tarn, it's not busy. It's not frequented by a lot of people. It's very beautiful. It's quite popular in the summer. Families come up here to picnic and so on, but chances are, even if you've been to the Lake District quite a few times, you might not have been here. But actually, if you read the book Swallows and Amazons, you will have been here, because this Tarn is described in the book. It's where Captain Flint teaches the children how to fish.
You know, Ransom and the Collingwood's grandchildren must have had a wonderful time that summer, coming up here, sailing on the lake, exploring the islands and wandering all over the fells. It's a perfect environment to allow a child's imagination to run riot, and with not a smartphone or a computer tablet in sight. It's a short and relatively easy climb from the Tarn up to the top of the fell. There are actually a couple of routes. I prefer this one because it's a bit rockier. Behind me there's a lovely view of the Tarn, while a little way ahead lies the summit cairn, which is known quite simply by the title The Beacon. It is not short on stunning views, and there's a story to tell about how it got its name.
Over there you've got Black Combe, and over there you've got the fells of the Lake District. And in days past, when Napoleon was going to invade, there was a beacon system. There was a warning system. So a beacon would be lit, and that would signal that there was a problem. And so another beacon would be lit, and it would go up the chain. If you saw a beacon being lit, you went up to the beacon points and lit your own beacon, and the next people, that they would see your beacon and they would light a beacon, and so word would get through very quickly that there was a problem. This is the site of one of the beacons. The beacon on here would have been seen for miles, because quite simply we can see for miles. So you've got the Duddon Estuary there. I can quite clearly see behind the camera Heysham Power Station. all across Morecambe Bay, all across the Yorkshire hills, the Pennines. Wonderful views, wonderful views. And we're not that high up, it's brilliant.
Pick a fine day to come here. The view to the northeast is extensive. The Helvellyn Range, the Fairfield Horseshoe. Unfortunately today, the clouds on the top of the mountains, it appears to be snowing up there actually. It's certainly cold enough, but there's no cloud on Wetherlam or Coniston Old Man or Dow Crag just coming into view. All in all, stunning views for very little effort. A super little walk at any time of year.